Well, both my husband and I attended Ripon Christian, and there was never any question about where we were going to send our children. We just sent them here.
Well, first of all, I went to Ripon Christian, so I just never thought I would send them to any other school. But I also wanted them to have a Christian education.
We wanted our children to have a Christ-centered education, and we absolutely loved our time at Ripon Christian.
I would say since 1966, RC has been my life. Ever since second grade, I wanted to be a school teacher. May seem odd to some people, but RC afforded me to have that particular calling for my life. I've always considered the RC faculty part of my family.
Well, many friendships I've made over the years. There's so many of my classmates we're still very close, and even I've made really good friends through the parents of my kids.
I have made some of the best lifelong friends here at Ripon Christian, and it's fun to see our kids go to school together, and some of those friends have become like family, and some of those friends have actually become family.
Christian education just not equips the kids academically, but it also equips them spiritually. And through every subject, they can have a biblical perspective.
Well, basically, Christian education exists because God exists. God is our creator. He's our provider. He's the source of all truth. And teaching at Ripon Christian has afforded me to share those values, that value. No public school could ever teach the total of God's truth. So I'm very, very happy for what Ripon Christian stands for.
Well, Ripon Christian is an extension of what's taught at the home, our home, what's taught in our church, and it's just an extension of the biblical teachings that our children are learning.
I think when I was going to Ripon Christian, it didn't mean as much to me as it does now that I'm sending my children to Ripon Christian. It's just knowing exactly what they're being taught, and that it also is what I would be teaching them at home is very comforting.
The values of Ripon Christian in its education basically mirrored the values that I had with my wife Jo in our own family, and of course the values of our church as well.
Well, since my time was 75 years ago, there's so much that has changed. Girls can play competitive sports as well as boys. And what's so different is that they can wear shorts now. We could not do that in 1948. We had to wear pedal pushers, which probably nobody knows what that is now.
Well, I think my favorite thing is that they're not just, in my days it was more college prep courses, and they've added so many electives, now floral design, and there's wood shop and ag, and we're in a farming community, you know. Not everybody's going to go to college, and I think that's awesome.
The RC preschool, I think, is my favorite new addition. I know that the first class graduated last year, but fun fact, I actually had Ellie as my preschool teacher when I was in Escalon.
Well, I'm very grateful that we have RC in our community. You know, generation after generation continue to go to RC, and I think that's awesome. And I pray that it continues on.
In addition to my teaching here, my wife Jo, my son Keith, and my granddaughter Carrie all taught at one time or another. And currently, my daughter-in-law Carrie and my daughter Donna are on staff here. So RC has been a part of my family for well over 60 years now.
I think the generational portion of RC, how there's year after year, a family sends a new generation to Ripon Christian is a blessing. And just to see my grandmother, who was so invested in RC, continue to send her kids, to send us, and then now my kids are at RC, it's fun to see the legacy that they have created.